following them for a while. More of my children who have listened to the podcast and start their own podcast, which is what this is all about. They can't censor all of us. And I've been watching them. They got really great clips on Instagram. I try to share them as much as I can. I think you made it to a couple of doom scrollings too. I think we've had a one or two of your videos on doom scrolling. I'm not quite sure which one, but their podcast is called Outside Minds Podcast. Please welcome Steelo Free and Dot420. Did I get it right?
Yeah, correct. Perfect. You got it perfectly right.
It's so funny because I looked down and it changed it to step free. I was like, oh, dude, I know that's not it.
You nailed it. Maybe you got to spelling the words wrong on purpose so you can say them right.
Yeah. So I'm very excited that you guys are on. Thank you guys so much. I know you almost stepped in on last week, but it was really too soon. So we're glad we made it happen this week. And for those who may not be familiar with you guys, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Steelo Free, Steelo Free. This is
Dot420.
As you can see, we're from the Outside Minds podcast. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. You can also find us on Twitter and YouTube as well.
Awesome. And after the show, please send me links so we can include them in, and we'll talk about the picture I need as well. Guys, thanks for coming on. How long you been doing your podcast?
It's been about 2 years, but I think we've been kind of going a little bit more hard like the last 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're on episode like 55. We just did a great episode. We released it today with a clinical psychologist, and she does QEEG brain mapping. So we were talking about brain waves and how it relates to the way we experience reality and stuff like that. We also talked about trauma, addictions, and psychedelics and stuff like that. So we got a lot of good episodes under our belt, and we're just glad to be here.
Yep.
Well, we're excited that you're on too. And yeah, everything is energy. And the sooner people realize that, the sooner they can turn their life around and start living the life they want to. And it's, it just really is. You are where you are based on the decisions you make and the actions you take and your mindset. And if you think doom and gloom, you're going to live in a doom and gloom world. And it's really hard because it's not instantaneous. It's hard to be super positive all the time when the world is crumbling around you, but it eventually turns. And you just have to understand that. And most people don't achieve their dreams because they don't believe they're possible. To what degree? Nobody, who knows? Again, like on the last episode, we just had archetypes. I deal with that and stand up a lot. I'm not what's the archetype for me? I don't know. Is there a destroyer of worlds? I don't know if that for stand up. So it's like, and I have this new bit where, and you guys have been to my show. I know Steelo's been there a bunch of times, and I'm very appreciative of that. I always see the Raiders hat. And when I walk up on stage, I just feel the room ice, unless it's a tinfoil hat show. But if it's a regular kind of just showcase show, the room gets they're going nuts for the last comic. Welcome, Sam Tripoli. Quiet. And it's because they're trying to compute who I am to put me in this cookie cutter stuff that makes it easier for them to understand, and they can't do it. They're like, nope. Nope, we got nothing. This isn't in our this isn't our data point. So it's everything is energy. So where do you guys want to start?
Well, I'm glad you said that because basically you're talking about how, you create your own reality through your thoughts and thoughts become things. And that's basically the principle of mentalism. You talked about it a bunch of times, the Hermetic Principles. And it comes full circle because I think it was episode 446 or 448 with Sean Beaupre. That sparked my spiritual awakening. We had an episode about that on your other podcast, and that got me into researching the universal principles. And one of them is mentalism. So the principle of mentalism states that one way to look at it is that this reality is just basically thoughts in the mind of God. And another way to look at it is basically, thoughts become things. But on this physical reality, like you said, it doesn't happen super fast in this physical reality. But when you're on the spiritual plane, it happens instantaneously. And that's kind of the background for where we want to talk about today.
I'm very excited about it. There is no reality. There's only perception. Nobody realizes that. So let's get into it. Where do you want to start? You want to start the connection between the... Oh, you want to get this little Bach Saga?
Yes, yes.
I'm all about the Bach Saga.
Well, I study a lot of like Kabbalah and stuff like that, and I've been studying into like like the Apocrypha of John and things like that, and you're I'm starting to realize why the Freemasons are obsessed with Kabbalah and Gnosticism. Is because they're interpreting these biblical texts through consciousness. And the thing with the book of Genesis, there's a guy named Stan Tenen. And what he did was he was looking at the first verse of Genesis one day, and he realized there was a pattern. So what he did was he wrote the verse in a spiral pattern, and he found out that basically the verse is embedded into sacred geometry. So he wrote it in a spiral, which is the 2D torus field. And what he also found out was all the characteristics of the ancient Hebrew alphabet were different phi spirals that are placed against a torus field. So it's kind of hard to explain, but basically he has this thing where it's like his hand and it's in the shape of a spiral. And each letter of the Hebrew alphabet is one of those shades. So basically I connected that to the Bach Saga because it reminded me that his alphabet was the same as him telling the story of Genesis. So I pretty much compared those two Genesis stories, and it made me realize that all these different creation stories across time have obviously the same themes. So what I'm thinking is just as much as there's infinite possible futures, there's infinite possible pasts. And in this reality, we're collapsed into one timeline that we're observing. And we're observing this reality, and it's created through our mentality. So basically I kind of look at all the ancient religions and esoteric traditions, and I kind of see the syncretisms through them, and I try to connect what is similar and ignore what's different, if that makes sense.
No, that's something you learn in recovery too. It's like, focus on what the similarities and ignore the differences, which helps somebody new be able to get through the first couple of weeks of getting off drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, so that it made me really interested because it made me realize that there's other codes in the Bible as well, but this code in the Bible is kind of like the Genesis story of the Bach Saga, where if you change one word, everything else gets thrown off. So that tells you that this text is written by a higher intelligence, and there has to be some substance there. Now, do I follow the Bible word for word and follow everything in it? No, but I do like to look at the esoteric traditions and see what they're teaching and compare that to all the other traditions that I've learned through, because I started with Hermeticism, which came from the Egypt, obviously, and then I started to look at all the other stuff, and I started to see a lot of connections.
And this is super interesting because again, when we had the Nephilim Death Squad guys on, they were talking about basically along the lines of the spoken word is more powerful than telepathy, but we're through Marvel comics and all this sci-fi, they make you think that telepathy is a higher form. And they brought up how God spoke, everything into existence, into reality. And so if you keep changing the name of everything, it either takes away its power or allows it to fester in a weird way, right? Like, if you don't actually know the name of Jesus, and I think it's Jesus, I think there's all these other words for it, but if you don't, what's that?
Well, Yeshua, Yahweh, there's a bunch of different ways that people say that they say his name, and they say if you don't know the real one, then you're losing out on power, just like
yes, but it's weird because if we want to take all the paranormal stuff as real, and I believe a lot of it is, the name Jesus is powerful. In the name of Jesus, I revoke you. In the name of Jesus, that seems to work with these entities.
It does, absolutely,
right? But if you also don't know the name of the devil, can you focus on what we're fighting here?
Well, that's an interesting point, because as far as the other code in the Bible that I know about, I think it's Exodus 14 or something like that, and it's also ancient Hebrew. So there's 3 verses in Exodus, and if you flip one of them, the patterns that you get from the letters are the 72 names of God. And in Kabbalah, like a bunch of the mystics, they use those for like prayers of protection and stuff like that. So when I was looking into that, I was researching that. They said that those could possibly be connected to the same 72 demons that John Dee was getting in contact with. And that was the guy that was the mystical advisor for Queen Elizabeth or something like that. So it's very interesting you say that, because I think that, for every demon, there has to be, it's duality. For every demon, there's an angel. And I think these energies that are above us, they all exist within us, and it depends on which side that you harmonize with. So if you resonate with the good side, you're going to obviously resonate with the angel of that energy. And if you don't resonate with it, you're going to resonate with the demon of that energy. And I think that also goes into the principle of mentalism, because it kind of shows like, all of this whole thing exists within us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get all that. And, I'm reading right now about Alexander II, and he was into his wife was very much into the occult. They were trying to summon entities, in particular his father. And I think that he had a sister that died very young, and he had either his wife or his side piece, which lived with him. By the way, that's what they did in Russia. They're like, all right, my wife's here, my side piece is over there.
They get weird.
And everybody seemed really happy back then. But what do I know? With divorce is almost 60%. But I don't want to say anything about that. But let's keep moving. And one of them wouldn't go to the seance because she's like, that's not them. You are summoning dark entities that are tricksters that are playing games with you.
Mm.
And dude, we see that, I should have asked the last guest too what he thought about the guy from Blondie who was like, Aleister Crowley's was just a libertarian.
Well, the thing with Aleister Crowley is I think his saying is "do what thou will," and then the thing is, everybody always forgets love is the law, and I think he forgot that himself, because if you're practicing SRA, you're not really living by love is the law. You know what I mean? I think it all comes down to free will versus God's will, and I think is something to the kind of stuff he was doing where they were R-ing kids. If you use your free will to take someone else's free will away, I think there's some kind of demonic power in that, and I believe that's what they were summoning with that kind of stuff.
And he did talk about the black magic is manipulation of someone else's will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was talking about. He got mad at me because I said he was the drummer or something, and I felt like he did enjoy our interview, so I'm like, let's just agree to go our separate ways. You go and convince yourself that everybody into the occult is a conservative. I don't know what you're going to do with these TikTok witches, but okay, go have a good time, but it is interesting, all that stuff. And the Bach Saga is such an interesting thing to me, because I think what Hollywood does is it takes everything and inverts it. So you start thinking the bad guys are the good guys and the good guys are the bad guys. And I feel that that Game of Thrones is based off the Bach Saga.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before.
Because they talk about these White Walkers, and then we talk about in Bach Saga, there's kind of these tall, angelic white people that eventually break out of this wall or something like that or whatever. We haven't talked about Bach Saga in a while, but along the lines of that. And that's literally what Game of Thrones is about. Yeah. The White Walkers get through the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about that, because the difference between Gnosticism and Kabbalah is basically the perspective. So the Gnostics basically are saying, hey, we all come from the same being, but we're trapped here, and we got to get past these archons. And the Kabbalistic perspective is the same, but instead of saying that the God of the Old Testament is the demiurge, they're just saying that you have to resonate with the archangels in order to get back to the Ein Sof. Mm-hmm. So the Gnostics call it the Pleroma, the Kabbalists call it the Ein Sof, the Hindus call it Brahma consciousness, the Hermetics call it the monad. So if you ignore this guy's a bad guy, that guy's a good guy, and you kind of see the similarities in the thread, you can see that there is a basic story that they're pulling from, but the difference between all the religions is saying who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. You know what I mean?
I find that super interesting, and I love this episode because it reminds me of old school tinfoil hat episodes.
Old school.
We haven't done one of these in a long time, and I love that. And you know, as I'm on my spiritual journey, again, this is just me speaking for myself. You know, I kind of go back and forth between like Orthodox Christianity. Johnny, let me ask you something. Is there any mysticism in Christianity? We kind of talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but is there any space for that?
I mean, that's God. I don't know. I mean, I can tell you what a mainstream, Southern Baptist would say. No, no.
No, that's okay.
There's not. Yeah, I mean, according to them. But there are plenty of people. I think, you bring what you want to it. You know what I mean? I don't know. There are a lot of Bible verses on the fringes that are conveniently ignored by people like that, that I grew up with that suggest more, and you got the Gnostic texts, of course, that take it even further. But and there's things in the Apocrypha that are inconvenient there's a reason they're the Apocrypha, I guess.
And the Apocrypha means what?
Those are the texts that were
left out?
Yeah, that were left out. Yeah.
And why do you think they were left out? I've had people give me explanations.
Sometimes there are narratives that are inconsistent with other narratives in the Bible. Some of them...
They couldn't codify them? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah. I mean, some of them were... known forgeries even at the time, or thought to be forgeries.
Anything too crazy? Where they're like, okay, that's just.
And
too
there are
crazy.
a couple of books that are just like they're Catholic. I think like Maccabees is in the Catholic Bible, but not the Protestant Bible, and a few. There are some. I'm not an expert on the Bible, obviously, but
Maccabees sounds like a food chain from the South.
yeah, it does.
Let's go down to Maccabees. I'll probably get pulled over. Shane Cashman trying to go eat Maccabees late night. So this is the eternal struggle for me between my desire to get closer to Christ and my belief that within this realm there is energy manipulation.
Well, there's definitely esoteric layers to Christianity, and when I was growing up, my nana was a Christian, so we go to Christian church on her side, and my other grandma is Catholic, so we go to Catholic. And I'd see that the difference was the Catholics have all this art around, and when you go to the Christian church, it's just just a cross. There's not really much art and stuff like that. But you do see the esoteric layers in Catholic art and some Christian art, and also too some of the Bible verses as well. We can talk about Ezekiel's vision. A lot of people try to say that that's a UFO. But from my research that I've discovered, there's a text called the Zohar, which is basically a commentary on the Torah. And they're basically saying that that's like Merkaba mysticism. And that's raising your vibration in order to get above space and time, which is basically meditation. Like all of these core principles from these different religions are all the same, basically.
So interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into Kabbalah and stuff, yeah, you can go with that.
Well,
the Old Testament.
What I would like to ask you guys is, what is your thoughts on the demonization of Kabbalah right now? Because, a lot of people are talking, is Trump Jewish? Is he a Kabbalah practicer? They get that quote from the, foreword of his book, and they tag him with it when I think it's someone else who's writing on behalf of Trump, kind of giving him a foreword for his book, that he's a Kabbalah practitioner. And then, if Ian Carroll got into trouble, he had the red band with the all-seeing eye, and then the number 223, which is the inversion of 322. And I'm like, okay, you're either really smart and fucking with everybody, or
he also offered a limp explanation of it. And we like Ian,
and we love Ian. We're Team Ian.
It was I would love to follow up with him because his explanation was like, oh, my
girlfriend's dad gave it to me. But then who's your girlfriend's dad?
And you didn't look at it?
My girlfriend's dad is Aleister Crowley. I didn't tell anybody that.
And I was about to say, what if it was just a gift? But you should still look at a gift you're given that you're going to put on.
No. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, dude, I can't tell you how many times people hand me stuff. I'm like, I can't wear this, dude. I put this out. The fittest flat earther is going to just do like 8 videos on me.
That guy.
And then someone sent me a video of him, someone calling him out
Oh, really?
Like, how's this guy's natural rise? He's getting all these numbers. He's not getting shadow banned anywhere. I'm like, how's it feel? You know, what's your thoughts on that? On the demonization of the Kabbalah, or is it Kabbalah Jewish mysticism? Is that what we're talking about?
Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. I believe it's the same thing with Freemasonry, which is why a lot of those guys study the same kind of thing. It's basically you're studying consciousness. And also, if you have a background in this stuff, if you know how the nature of reality works, then you can manipulate reality, and that gets into magic. And there's no doubt that these elites are doing dark magic. So as far as the demonization of Kabbalah, it's almost like demonizing jujitsu or demonizing boxing. You know, you can demonize someone who punches someone to death for no reason, but are you demonizing the boxing or are you demonizing the person? You know what I mean? If someone learns a magic, if they use it for evil, obviously you can demonize that. But as far as demonizing Kabbalah, a lot of the teachings are about reading the Bible and becoming a pure spirit. You know what I mean? So I try not to demonize anything occult. I try to look into it and understand it from my own kind of lens. You know what I mean? But as far as like the elite and what they practice, I believe they have a deep understanding of the esoteric, and I believe they use it for their own good for sure.
Yeah, we've again on the last episode we talked a lot about that. The revelation of the method is basically manifestation. And if they keep playing it enough, it becomes reality. And I've said this before. I've said it about comics. Even bad guys or assholes can manifest. But the reason they tend to lose all of it is because they don't do the second part, which is giving it all away. Once you reach a certain level that you're happy with, you're supposed to help pull people up, and they don't tend to pull people up, and then they just slowly descend into madness because they're not doing the thing they're supposed to do, which is help others.
Which is also being aligned with God's will. You know what I mean? The Adam and Eve story is a story about consciousness discovering free will on its own. And in order to get back to the Garden of Eden, you have to use your free will to align with God's will. And that's the same thing as defeating the 7 archons. It's the same thing as resonating with the 7 archangels. It's the same thing as aligning your 7 chakras. So there's definitely...
Bro, that was fire. That's exactly it. That is everything... That is our society right now. And this is why, like, I push back on this kind of, like, really, what's the word I'm looking for? This kind of Puritan view of life, right? Mm-hmm. If God gives free will, how people choose to use that free will is not, in my opinion, my job to regulate, right? So this is my whole thing is like everybody's vices, right? We have all these vices. Like I'm banging like nicotine, you're sucking on robot dicks, you know, right? I mean, like these are our vices, and maybe these aren't necessarily low vibrational or anything, but we get into drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, all that stuff. That is low vibrational shit. And it's like if you compare that to a junkie prostitute to a Zen monk on the top of a mountain,
Yes. Yeah.
like they are choosing 2 different paths of free will. And like I really do believe it's like, why does jujitsu take 10 years to get a black belt in? Because you have to go through it to get to it, and it's literally about holding off gratification.
Yes.
And like so much of what really is free will and what you are talking about is using your free will to get closer to God is about holding off instant gratification for as long as you possibly can. Yep. That's it. That you nailed it. That is what sickens our society is instant gratification and not the understanding that you were given free will and you must choose to get closer to God. Johnny, back to how smart I am, like we do on the last couple episodes. Easy versus simple.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up. Yes.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Man, I'm good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked about it. Easy versus simple, getting closer to God versus getting closer to it's matter versus spirit. And when you look at the Kabbalistic tree of life, I sent you guys some diagrams. I don't know if you guys have them or not, but basically the top is basically the spiritual plane and the bottom is basically the physical plane. And what you're supposed to do with these 10 Sephiroth, if you're basically just supposed to go to each one and you're supposed to make sure that each one is functioning correctly so that you are basically in alignment with God's will. So basically you have the physical plane here and you have the spiritual plane here, and you're supposed to be a balance in between the two. And that's also what the Vitruvian Man drawing is by Leonardo da Vinci. That's how I know he was into that kind of stuff, because he's drawing these secrets into his art. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, that's it, dude. That's it. Snip that, put that out, tell people to fix their life.
Yeah.
Hold off gratification.
But how do you tell people not to want instant gratification?
Well, I mean, how do you tell them? When you say that, what do you mean? Like, how do you get them to do it?
Yeah, like how do you tell people?
You don't. It's free will, dude. You can, like, again, like, I've been talking about this with conspiracy. Say that again.
Only save yourself, like you say.
Dude, it's like, this is what I'm talking about with this conspiracy stuff. It's like, my friend Brett Ernst told me, it's like, don't worry about waking up the sheep, wake up the sleeping lions. Dude, don't even worry about the sleeping lions. You can't wake them up. These shows, you put out the data, and those who choose to rummage through the data and pick out what they want, and if they get the right thing and they realize it's really about holding off instant gratification. It's like fast food versus a cooked meal, right? Fast food is like order, eat. Cooking, and I'm not cook, but when Dana cooks, yeah, we have a traditional relationship because I'm paying for everything, okay? But when she cooks, right? Hey, I'm cooking. It's going to take me a half an hour, whatever it is.
But also, it's about the journey.
Right.
The journey there. Like, even as simple as cooking.
That's a great point. That's, again, what's wrong with our culture.
Yeah, even as simple as cooking, going to the grocery store. When you finally make a good, decent meal, it tastes way better than when even when your lady made it.
Dude,
you're
that's
like, I got
everything.
Down. I got down today.
That is everything.
And you understand what's on the other end, which is a good meal. So,
and it's so interesting because, again, I always tell everything from comedy. It's like if you study these guys that are kind of going from open micers, putting out a clip, now they're playing theaters, and everybody looks at their comedy. They're like, and I'm not judging anybody because I want like everybody, dude, if you can figure it out. But it's none of it is like, wow, that's some deep shit. It's what I call, there's 4 types of comics. The first one is wedding singers. The second one is clowns, and this isn't negative against that. Clowns just want to be loved. Then there's shit talkers, the Bill Burrs and the Joe Rogans, and then there's outlaws like the Joey Diaz's and the Doug Sam Tripoli's and the Brian Holtzmans. Those guys just want to burn shit down. But if you get into like just the fucking crowd work people and why people real, like, I don't want to say real because that the art of writing a joke, people hate that shit because it's instant gratification.
Yep.
Wow.
There's no like going through it to get to it. Now there's people like Ian Bagg who's been doing it for years and he's a super master of it. So I'm not including him in that, but we know who we're talking about. I mean, it's just, dude, this is everything. It's like, how long can you hold off gratification?
Yeah. A practical way to practice it is to choose a system. I mean, like I said, all these systems are the same, but one of them will be Hinduism or Buddhism, and I think the chakra you're talking about the most is it might be your stomach chakra, because there is basically, that's the sin of gluttony. So basically what you do to regulate that chakra is, like you said, you have to have temperance, and you have to make sure that you're not having too much of something. Could be drugs, could be alcohol, could be food, could be whatever. You know what I mean? You have to have moderation for sure. So that's kind of written to all these different systems for sure.
Yeah, that was great, dude. That's fucking fire right there. That's fucking fire right there. So I'm looking through your notes, and what you wanted. One thing you wanted to talk about is that, did we finish the Bach Saga stuff and its connection to Genesis? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the one thing you're talking about is multiple timelines, and this is an old school tinfoil hat discussion we've been having for a long time. Long time ago, we discussed it in depth, and and it's really about how, like, just imagine every movie ever made all going on at the same time.
Yeah.
That's our reality. That is what our reality is.
Yeah.
Everything, all of it.
I agree. Yeah, that's the subconscious. That's what's known as the Akashic records. So basically, I can answer to you what the ether is.
Let's go.
Ether I forget. I think Sanskrit Akasha is ether. So if you think of it like a computer, or think of it like a video game, right? Let's say you have Mario and he's on level 1 and he jumps over a mushroom, and let's say that's 00001. That's the binary. That's the frequency for that event. All the other events that he is not experiencing is the ether. So he's moving through the ether moment by moment. Does that make sense?
So the ether is the everything surrounding the event.
Yes. Every other multiverse except the one that you're experiencing in the moment.
That's interesting. Let's break that down. So break it down.
If you think of a computer program, it has a source code, right? You don't see that source code. You just see whatever you see when you start the program, just like a video game. You don't see any of the source code, but the video game pulls from the source code. Our source code is the Akashic records, which is the field of infinite possibilities, which is the ether, which is the quantum field, which is why electrons are in a superposition state until they are observed. That gets into the double slit experiment, and that gets back into the principle of mentalism, where reality is not real until you observe it. You know what I mean?
In a weird way, would you say it's kind of like Sims? You know how you can go and look at your characters, but then you can zoom out and look at the rest of the whole town?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea behind like Kundalini awakening, or the stuff that I've been talking about the whole time, is if the sim character finally realizes that not only is he a sim character, but he is the whole code. And that's holographic universe theory, because holographic universe theory states that every small part of the hologram contains the whole. And that also makes way for like remote viewing, astral projection, the dream realm and stuff like that. That's why you can meditate and get to a place where you can remote view, because all of this is available within you.
Is the ether the energy that powers the game? Not so much that it is the event of me jumping up to, I'm playing Donkey Kong, I'm jumping over the barrel. Not that event, but all the events and energy that leads to that barrel coming towards me.
Yes. It's everything. It's every event. It's basically, let's see. You got Harry Potter, right? You got this, but it's my sister's Harry Potter book. If you're on this page and you're reading, let's say Harry Potter is walking down the hallway, whatever, that's him in this present moment. The ether is going to be all the other pages, except all the other pages to us are infinite possibilities. And what I'm getting to is I think the past as well could be infinite possibilities, which could explain why we have so many different cultures that have very, very similar myths, but they have different names and stuff.
The
like that.
ether is the energy that powers everything.
Yes.
And not
That's why they
the whatever we're acting in that time, that is outside the ether. But once that's done, that gets absorbed into the ether. And it's like, if I observe a tree falling, the old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, does it make a sound? If I'm there, it makes a sound. If it doesn't, then it's all part of the ether. Yeah. Right? And this gets into something a long time ago. A buddy of mine named Chris out of Seattle. Again, I told this story. This is such a great episode, so old school. It's that he used to have a podcast, and his fans would call in, and this guy talked about how him and his girlfriend were driving in a car. Do you guys remember this story? Driving in a car, and they had to pull over. Someone had to piss, and then the dog took off into the forest. So it goes to go look at the dog, find the dog, and he sees the dog just looking up, staring, and he looks up, and it looks like a green screen, a giant green screen. and there's something crawling on the green screen.
What?
Right?
So
and then the things move, then it knows it's getting seen, and it looks down, and the guy's like, oh shit, sees me. He looks at his dog took off. So much for man's best friend. Just fucking took off. And he started running too. They got in their car and they drove off.
Like the Truman Show or something.
But that gets into the missing 411 as well, right? Like the notion that if you go too deep into the forest, it has to keep rendering.
Yeah.
That at some point it's like, okay, zip, you're out. And then then they're always found somewhere else. Maybe that's just the simulation going, okay, we're gonna place you back over here where it's all rendered and there's more people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Well, that reminds me of the new season of Black Mirror. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I
or
gotta
not.
get back to I like,
saw
dude, I'm
it,
gonna
yeah.
tell you, I watched the first episode. I got so fucking pissed because the first episode, the guy's humping a pig, and everyone goes, "Oh, this
Oh,
is
you mean
Oh,
the very first episode.
you're so behind.
I
Sam.
know, but I stopped at episode 1 because I got so pissed.
It's a politician, though. I mean,
I know, but the fact that a guy is humping a pig and everyone's like, dude, this is so brilliant.
That's a good
And then
episode.
if I go up on stage and go, anyways, this guy's humping a pig, everyone's like, dude, why do you got work
I
dirty?
love that you're comparing your act to Black Mirror.
It just
That's great.
upsets me because I'm so limited by the crowd's mind. That's why I'm like, I get why people only want to play
Oh,
their
that was
crowd.
a highly controversial episode, though. I mean, they got a lot of shit for that episode.
Yeah, but still, everyone's like, I love this show.
Well, that's because it has a whole other body of work too. Yeah,
I have multiple specials, Johnny, just so you know.
you know, I mean, they weren't all pig fucking episodes. Is my point.
You got to stop calling them special. Multiple bodies of work.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah.
Check out my new multiple bodies of work.
A good body of work.
By the way, you can see me and Dot420 in the front of your special and Why You Getting Quiet.
Oh yeah, I'm in one of the.
I
clips
love
you
that,
did.
dude.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. You guys are very supportive. It means a lot to me. Yeah, so that's, again, energy.
What were you saying about Black Mirror, though? Were they about to?
Oh, so
Oh,
there's
they were
this new-
saying something about Black Mirror. Thank you, Johnny.
There's a new episode, which is funny because they're redoing this film, and it's an old black and white film, but they're replacing the main character with a black woman. So it's like, it kind of pokes fun at the woke stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, instead of rewriting and reshooting the film traditionally, they have a simulation of the film, and each of the characters are made up of the biography of the real character they play, as well as all the facts from the story. So you have this simulation of this place where you're having these events happen, and the person who is the black lady that's the actor that plays the film, she's actually the one who enters the simulation. So what happens is one of the characters inside the simulation walks and they exit the perimeter of where the simulation ends. So what happens is they absorb all the information of the simulation. So when she comes back into the scene, she's like, oh shit, like none of this is real.
Yeah.
I'm an actor, like, you know, and she realizes the whole thing. And it made me realize that it's basically what a Kundalini awakening is. Once you realize that you can meditate and get your brain to this point where the left brain and the right brain merge, and you get all of the information all at once, that field we were talking about, you experience that field. That's when you start to realize all of these dots connect, and this message is in every ancient religion that you can find.
And again, going back to the notion that because these religions tell the same story with different names, somehow that is a sign that it's all bullshit, I think is a lie. I mean, how many different languages have different words for sandwich? Doesn't mean there's not a sandwich, right? I think they're just telling the same story. And I mean, like, archaeology and these archaeological sites are finding new sites that put the timeline back even farther. So who knows what the real timeline is? Who knows?
I also have a theory that what if all of these ancient events and myths are real, but our past isn't real? So think about it like Batman, right? When you start to read the Batman comic, you know that his parents were killed. Whether or not you read that in the comic, that's embedded into his story. You know what I mean? But you're reading the comment from a certain point to a certain point. That could be what our life is. We probably could just get inserted into the simulation, and all of the information. It's just higher dimensional backstory that kind of puts us into this story, which is kind of could explain why the book of Genesis or the Bach Saga revolves around the patterns of language and the Genesis story. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I do, especially when you realize history is fake and gay.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, how much of what is real in history? You know, I'm watching this thing. Nick Fuentes was on Candace Owens' show, and I thought it was a good conversation. I think they both got points. I do think at the end Candace got them.
What are their points of divergence? What are they debating?
At first it was Candace was like, oh, do you hate all people? Like whatever the group is, Jews, blacks, whatever. And his whole thing was like, basically the idea is that this one group is very tribal and they're inserting themselves everywhere. So to sit there and be like, well, it's not all of them, but you know, they are concentrated. They're 2% of the population, but you know, and this is his opinion. I think there is something to that. The tribalism, I don't necessarily care about. Oh, they run Hollywood. Well, they created it. I don't really give a shit. But that was the back and forth, and then him coming out with like he's like literally racist, and he gets into sub-Sahara Africa and how they haven't built anything. And then I thought Candace got him with some good points. And it is something that, like, when I watch Nick debate, and I'm a huge fan of Nick. I think he's one of the best speakers we've ever seen. He's incredibly gifted. He just got sent down this path that's been real fucking crazy, right? But he's 26 years old. Think about what you knew at 26 years old. Like, you didn't know. How old are you guys? 26? You know, how old are you guys?
35.
Okay. Like, yeah, you guys are like 9 years older than that. Like, think about what you've learned in the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? Like, if you were to ask me to give, like, at 25 years old to tell you how the world works, I would be so off. So I don't hold it against him. It's just he knows a lot about something, but he doesn't know a lot about this other part, and that is the hidden hand that has constantly gone into these countries and wrecked them so they can't develop. So, you know, his whole theory is, and you see the meme all the time, right? You know, like Europe in 1760, here's a building. Europe today, Africa in 1760, and Africa today. It's the same hut, right? And that's what they're trying to tell you. But now you're ignoring all these, like, you ignore all these great empires that Africa had. Like, I'm part, what am I part?
Egypt is in Africa.
Egypt, she brought that up. She brought, who was the Africans that dropped dick on southern Italy? The Moors. I'm part Moor.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you, and again, I'm very sensitive to his sensitivity. Nick is a very sensitive guy, and I get it, because when you've been beat down like that, you're fucking like, you're a caged animal, dude. I totally fucking get it, and he has every right to be upset. But, you know, I bet you Nick Fuentes, and I can't say for sure, but I bet you if you ask him, he thinks Columbus discovered America.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
I'm like, that's why I go, Nick, do you think Columbus discovered America? He'd probably say, yeah, which is completely laughable.
But does he say yes to piss people off or an attention for attention?
No, I
or does he
think he's
believe it?
authentic to who he is. I mean, he is bombastic. He says he's bombastic, but I think if you whittled it down to the core of what he's saying, I think he believes
But
it.
I'm with Johnny. You can't, if you say you think Christopher Columbus
He knows.
created,
Discovered.
discovered
Well, that would
America,
be even
you would
more
argue
He
and say,
created America? That would be
Oh, yeah.
That'd be crazy.
but you would sit there, even kids would argue, would tell you, like, no, there was already people here. So it is to piss people off, I would say. in
Yeah,
a
I
weird
think
kind of
there's
way.
a lot in common with, and I like both of the guys, but him and Milo, they're a lot of what they do, I think, is performative.
I think I think it's bombastic. I think he was more bombastic when he was only on Cozy TV, and that's the only place they would let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Now he's being more, and he has grown since he first started. But, you know, the Moors were here, dude.
You think he did?
The Moors had they were European African explorers. They had they had science. They had technology. They had everything. And it's like, it's a very limited view when you think that Africa couldn't grow if you didn't have France assassinating 75 of their leaders or whatever that number is. Right? I mean, it's crazy to me, dude.
That's like thinking Latin America wouldn't be nowhere if
Who knows where Latin America would be if the CIA wasn't assassinating everybody? They'd probably be flourishing. I don't even know how I got on that, but what were we talking about?
I think the algorithm loves pushing dissonance anyway, because we talked about it when we were talking about the immigration riots. And, you know, I tell people, if you see something in the news and it gets you really, 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 really fired up and upset or passionate for some reason, it's doing that for a reason. Now, the reason I say that is because they wanted, you know, all the Hispanic people and all the people to do all these riots so that, you know, they can cause enough damage to pass the Palantir thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they're aiming all this news and all this stuff at Hispanic illegal immigrants. They're going to, you know, farms, they're going to Home Depot, they're going to Dodger Stadium, but it's like they don't say anything about all the Asian people who are here. They don't go to any of the weird massage parlors that they work at. They don't go to any of the other immigrants, and they're not putting any of that on the news. Why? Is because they're trying to focus on the Hispanics right now so that they can cause these riots.
So let's go through it. BLM, blacks. January 6th, whites. Asian hate, Asians. Now Hispanics are with no kings. And I really do believe that thing didn't go off like they wanted to because
I was there. I went to go take pictures.
Why? Because you don't look Latino enough, so you're like, I'm good.
I got the white pass.
Right, but I do believe our shows and shows like us sounding the alarm about the Walmart Air funding it and the people who are pushing it, like the guy who created it has CIA ties. I do believe that worked. And that made it so it didn't pop off like they thought it was going to do. So whenever you get like upset, you're like, this is what we're losing, nothing's going, blah, blah, blah. I really do believe the conspiracy content creating genre of the internet, of YouTube, of Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen, did a giant service to America by getting people not to go near that thing. That's my opinion.
Especially because you had that one mayor that was like, "What's up with everyone? You guys always want to claim hood. Where are you at?" And
yes.
These gangsters that are responding, they're like, "We're not fucking going out there. What the fuck?"
Dude, gang members were like,
your turf.
You gotta defend your turf.
You guys got to defend your turf.
I mean, what are you, my mom, trying to talk to blacks? Like, you guys got to defend your turf. I mean, it's crazy.
It really was like a South Park character. She sounded just like a South Park character.
And she's just a brown face to a white movement to connect with brown people. Well, you guys got to defend your I mean, just imagine a politician telling you to go and burn down your neighborhood.
She got investigated, right?
I don't know.
I mean, doesn't that make you get investigated by the FBI for like a mayor telling?
No,
them?
because she's doing the bidding of the elites. That's what they want her to do. They want her to get as many people down there. But you saw those gang leaders like, no one in this fucking neighborhood is going down to that shit. Oh. That's how I knew we reached them.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily this show. I'm not saying this show in particular, but shows like yours, all the shows like ours that were out there going, this is a setup. Yeah. And all the gang leaders are like, nobody go down there, dude. And I think it really... I mean, they wanted some BLM January 6th shit.
Yeah, because it wasn't even as close.
No, it wasn't done
even
that day.
It was a one-day thing. Or the freeway got closed down, but that was about it.
But it's like convenient that his military parade happens on the day that the No King is. Like, did they think some shit was going to pop up and they need to shut down? What?
Of course they did, yeah.
They thought they need to fucking control Washington, D.C. Now, part of me also, they have to be like, what do we got to do to get these guys to go nuts? Yeah. I mean, people want to call for revolution. Hold on. People want to call for revolution, but you're never going to get a revolution as long as you see fat homeless people. You're never going to get a revolution, ever. As long as you see a fat homeless person, everyone's doing just enough right?
Yep.
They get off their couches. When you see Europe or any of these places that they're going in there, taking out the politicians, because they're done. Like, dude, they are fucked. They got everything. Their economy's done. They got no food in the grocery stores. Time to hit the reset button.
Do you think same thing happened with MacArthur Park?
What?
MacArthur Park. You think that was the same thing? What's the mayor's name? Carol Bassett going out there and talking to the Navy or whatever. You saw that?
Yeah, it's with the yeah. That's all about ticking people off, and they're just, in my humble opinion, they're just running out of things they can do.
I mean, that looks like something that would start a riot. Military at MacArthur Park, and everyone just seemed to be like, well,
the military stuff isn't even like, it's so funny. I have another show, Conspiracy Social Club. One guy lives in Santa Monica. Another guy lives in Silver Lake. I live in the Valley, and I go, have you guys seen any military? None of us has seen military. None of us. You're in Glendale.
Nope, none.
Where I'm sure they're here. I guarantee you they're in the smallest little neighborhood getting shot like it's crazy. Johnny brought a great point up about no kings. He's like, it's all photographers. That's all I see down there is fucking photographers. Right? We saw these guys. There's one of these guys.
I've seen it.
It's crazy how much of it you miss too when you're tuned out, because I haven't even been tuning into that. Like, I've kind of just been focusing on more of the spiritual content, and my homegirl's the one who's kind of just been filling me in on like, oh yeah, like all the protests and all that stuff has been going down, and I'm just like, I think that's just on your algorithm. Yeah, I don't really see much of it going on. You know what I mean?
100%, dude. That is manifestation. They're constantly putting it in you, and you think it's real. You think this is really happening. And that's through the power of social media. It's a trauma deliverance system.
Yeah, and I was saying it before. We were thinking before that, you know, the dissonance that's getting pushed on our algorithms, like someone could have a drastically different algorithm than someone else. We were thinking that's man-made, but it could possibly be AI doing that now. You know what I mean?
Well, I think AI's been around for 40 years. I've seen videos of it. I think Q was AI. I think 9/11 had AI in it. I think, you know, that plane going into that building and that weird moment where you're like, that doesn't look right. I think they've been manipulating our reality forever. A lot of stuff with the Sandy Hook shooting has some weird shit in it where it doesn't even make sense. A lot of this stuff is,
you know, that one's a big one because they tried to take Alex Jones down over it. And the weird thing is how...
Oh, but I got a theory about that now.
Supposedly the Onion was going to buy his shit, and then he got it back, and then now he's just kind of questionable in my eyes. You know what I mean? Because wasn't he Team Trump for a while?
Well, did you see him last week, like gagging because of Trump? That was so funny, dude. Did you see him in the car? He was like,
he's performative. I will tell you, when you meet him, he's the nicest guy. But he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he knows how to put on a show.
He
not
even
an gave this guy brisket. Okay,
yeah, but he's not an actor. I mean, he's loud like that all the time. Like,
no, he is that guy, but he could be playing a character. So I have this theory. So I just heard about the LIBOR scandal. Did you guys hear about the LIBOR scandal?
What's that?
We're going to do an episode on it. It's so fucking nuts, dude. The LIBOR scandal. Basically, these two guys were running FICA, the credit score company that gives you your credit. Johnny, did I tell you this yet?
FICO, no.
FICO, right. So they were doing some analysis, and they came to the conclusion that banks and corporations were manipulating stocks, bonds, derivatives. That's what they're called, derivatives, right? Manipulating derivatives, artificially inflating them and artificially deflating them to the tune of $350 trillion.
Fuck.
And you can look this up, the LIBOR scandal. So they were supposed to testify in front of Congress or the Senate, but tragedy strikes. Okay? Columbine and then the Aurora shooting. Do you know what the relationship between those two guys who are FICA and those shootings?
What's
No,
that?
what's that?
They were the father of Lanza and Holmes,
Wow.
the two shooters.
That's crazy.
Really? Wow.
Wow.
Right? That is the most mind-blowing thing I've heard in a long time. They basically
that's
MK
not a
Ultra those
coincidence.
kids, and that's how they got their dads to shut up.
Wow.
Crazy.
So I go, okay, what if the Alex Jones trial is to push everything away from this story?
Just tie his name into it so it always go back.
So everyone's just talking about,
So was Sandy Hook around that time
yeah,
and
they were
Columbine?
really close to each other. They were like months away.
Wait, what?
what-
Johnny does fact checks on me.
No,
Go
no,
on.
but when Sandy Hook was way after, right?
No, I think they were both like 2012 or something like that.
Sandy Hook was 2012.
Okay.
And then Columbine was way before. Remember Bowling from
When
Columbine?
was it?
I mean,
Early
late 90s?
Yeah, 90s. I would say 90s.
Will you look it up? But
99,
supposedly
99.
that's both of their parents.
1999, yeah.
1999.
Oh.
Yeah, because Bowling from Columbine.
Look it up. There's a
I just did, yeah, it
connection.
was- the FICO, the father of one of the Columbine shooters was a FICO scientist,
Okay.
it says.
Well, I was told by Austin.
Well, there
Reed-
were two guys that did Columbine. Are you
Yeah.
saying those two guys, maybe their parents were connected to FICO, possibly?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
so I take it by the AI himself, Austin Wade Picard, who broke it down for me, and they're going to come on and have the discussion about it soon. But that's
So,
basically
but what you're saying is Alex Jones is just a story to cover up for Sandy Hook?
no. I think it's to force the narrative to us into to discuss the hoax of it,
Yeah, but
and,
basically, yeah.
and not this story.
Yeah, like you type in Sandy Hook, it doesn't take you to Sandy Hook. It takes you to Sandy Hook, Alex Jones
Yeah,
getting
all
sued
that
by
stuff.
it.
It's
Yeah.
hoax, not hoax. But you're like, if this story's real, right?
Wow.
It's super interesting.
Yeah,
Super.
it's so interesting when you get into like those kind of school shooter stories and stuff like that. We discussed it on our last episode because those guys always kind of have like a weird psychology background, and a lot of them are like trauma survivors.
Yep.
We talked about dissociative identity disorder, and we connected it to MK Ultra, because what dissociative identity disorder is when your mind undergoes trauma, so it switches your mind to a different brainwave, and it creates a different identity in order for you to cope with that trauma. And we think that's what they were doing in the MK Ultra program in order to create sleeper cells.
No, I'm 100%. That like Jim Lee we had on, and he was talking about they have Manchurian candidates everywhere. Like they say there's like 7,000 of them all over the world, and all they have to do is hit them with the right radio wave and they get activated.
Wow.
Right? And it's just like all of these guys that are like these patsies, they shoot and then they're like, oh, what happened? And they don't know because something was triggered.
Wow.
And I 100% believe that. And again, goes back to Nephilim Death Squad guys. They're like 80% of your thoughts aren't probably really your thoughts.
Oh, are you thinking of the Aurora shooting? Is that? 'cause
Yeah.
It says the Aurora shooter's father was a FICO scientist.
Yeah.
Robert Holmes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That was a movie theater shooting.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Batman, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Sorry.
was okay. Okay, so those both were in 2012.
Which one?
Aurora and Sandy Hook.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So not
Sorry.
Columbine.
So
I
not
got you.
Columbine.
Okay,
Thank you. I
okay.
started getting weirded out. Yeah,
Okay,
those.
okay,
I was
okay.
like, oh,
I
fuck.
got it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
those Sandy Hook and and Aurora. Yeah, I know when I say something, I got a fact checker over here. Let me see.
Well, it's not fact checking. It's
okay.
just helping you out.
And I bring it up about MK Ultra kids. The guy that shot Trump, MK Ultra? Or do you think this is all now that Trump's being a little deep state, you think that was all an inside job even more?
I think that I'd like, dude. I've studied that stuff enough. You don't get out of there if they want you dead. Like if we study 9/11, layer on layer on layer on layer on layer on layer. You know,
Also, we haven't heard shit from that Florida shooter. Like, have you heard a damn thing from that guy? He's alive. The guy that attempted to kill him in Florida.
The second attempt. The second attempt at the golf course, yeah.
Where's he?
No, how about the Israeli embassy shooting? That story died. The guy who blew up people, they're like, show this giant explosion. I think that's some AI shit. And then we go back and it looks like they're cooking s'mores on these two tiny fires. That story's gone.
Oh, you know what
So
story
weird.
was gone that I can't believe about? The blowing up of the Tesla. I
Yeah,
thought Trump
that story's
guy
gone.
disappeared.
The story about a guy in Idaho or where it was, where like he shot at the firefighters. That story's gone.
Oh, that one didn't take long at all. Yeah, that one's already gone.
These are just fucking things that push the narrative,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but the problem is that they put it out and nobody believes it instantly.
Yeah.
And you know, remember when they were like, on July 4th, there's going to be a giant false flag event. And I think we got the rain thing, which is its own kind of crazy
Oh, you're
fucking
talking
thing.
about the Texas flood?
Yeah, I think that. When did that
Fourth of
happen?
July. That was 4th of July. People were
What if
camping.
that's
It
the
took a lot.
false flag they're talking about? Like the old false flags don't work, so they got to keep flipping shit. It's super interesting,
Great
dude.
song, by the way, Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
But going back to something you said earlier, and this is why I think it's very important to say this, is that love is the law, or the law is love. Which one is it? Did you say?
Yeah.
Love is the law. And I've been saying that forever, that even whoever you think is the most powerful person on the planet is not above the rules of the universe.
Exactly.
That's why love will always, even Aleister Crowley said that. Or he tried to take that out, right? The second part, do as I will, love is the law. That's what we're talking about. That's it.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to these converting timelines. What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm thinking that, like I said, if I don't think that the past is linear. I don't think the past is fixed. I think there could be multiple pasts, just like I think there could be multiple futures.
Multiple futures. Okay. I think every decision you make puts you in a different timeline.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once was about.
One of my favorite movies of all time, and it's so fucking powerful.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that movie is, you know, every time they had to jump timelines in order to get like some kind of crazy skill, they had to do something very, very, very outrageous. And I think the cool thing about that was the reason why they had to do that was they had to launch from that universe into a very, very far one. And in order to do that, you had to do something that's just way out of your character. You know what I mean? Which is kind of like what you have to do when you want to manifest something. You know, if you want to fucking bodybuild or you want to get $1 million or something, you have to do something that's so out of your normal pattern of behavior in order to achieve such a crazy goal that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree, dude. I agree wholeheartedly. Let's get into this. Most religious symbols are pathways to enlightenment of the tree of life. Let me hear about that. And then we'll get in some code of underlying, or do you want to do code of underlying all esoteric traditions and religions?
It's all the same thing. But yeah, that's basically what I was saying earlier. I sent you guys a picture. I don't know if you guys could pull it up. But basically it shows the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life. And if you look at this picture, most of the symbols you see are from different religions. They're just pathways on that system. So basically it's a pathway to get from the physical plane to the spiritual plane. So if you look at it, you can see like a cross, which represents Christianity. There's one that's an Ankh. There's also a lightning bolt, which is like Norse mythology. So basically all of these different theologies are basically trying to teach you how to align yourself with God's will in order to experience heaven on earth, basically. And that's also what psychedelics is about.
Okay, explain that to me. Break it down.
So when consciousness fell from the Garden of Eden, it's basically when the left brain and the right brain got misaligned. So basically what that means is we experience polarity, and that's the first time that spirit was able to have free will. So like I said before, in order to get back to a state of paradise or the perfect man, you have to align with God's will. And that's all about taking all of these energies on the tree of life and aligning them in a certain way. Now, what comes to the syncretism part is that all of these different religions have pathways on this tree that represent balance. And one of them is the Star of David, but that's obvious because that comes from Kabbalah, and the Jews use that. They study Kabbalah. But
have you ever heard that there's no biblical reference to the Star of David? And does that resonate with you at all?
I have not heard that, but I've also heard that it's supposedly the Star of Remphan, and that's supposed to be some kind of malevolent symbol, which I don't really agree with, because if
Malachian, that's people think it has to do with Moloch and Kronos and all that stuff.
Yeah, people think it's like demon worship and whatnot, but the way I see it is I try to look at it like I said about the traditions earlier. I try to look at the main story of it, or what it symbolizes, and the triangle that goes up and the triangle that goes down, they basically just represent the divine masculine and the divine feminine, just like the square and the circle. And that goes back to Leonardo da Vinci with the Vitruvian Man. And that also explains that the Freemasons knew this. If you look at the Freemason logo, you have the compass, which draws a circle, and under that you have the square, which helps you draw a square, which shows that they knew in order to get to the higher powers, you have to balance these two energies within yourself, which is the left brain, the right brain, the two pillars of Solomon's temple, Jachin and Boaz. It's in every different religion.
So let me ask you, do you believe that these symbols aren't necessarily evil? Again, it goes back to our last episode. They're talking about the corrupting of archetypes, and that's what these dark energies have been trying to do, particularly in Hollywood. They're trying to destroy archetypes. Do you believe that maybe these symbols themselves, let's take the swastika, right, is really the Hindu symbol for peace, which has been corrupted, and now every time people see it, they lose their fucking minds. But if you go to ancient synagogues all over the world, the swastika is all over these synagogues.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is it's really next to the Star of David as well, too. And some of them, it'll be like right next to it or inside of it.
Inside of it. I mean, isn't that what Kanye West put out that drove everybody crazy?
Yeah, and that I think that is just a corruption of that symbol in particular. And sometimes it's hard to get away from that, because that symbol obviously meant something else thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yes.
And then you have this group that takes it and adopts it and changes it. And because you have the power of attention and focus, it's kind of like the egregore, to where it's like if so many people associate it with something else, the meaning of it gets skewed.
Yep.
And I think that happens a lot, not only with symbols, but with religion as well.
The symbol for the universe is this squiggly circle, and now everybody thinks that's a pedophile symbol.
Yeah. And my friend, she has a necklace, one of my coworkers, and it has that thing on it. And every time I look at her, I'm just like, she doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Johnny, are you hesitant on that? Did I say something that maybe made you hesitant?
No, I was trying to remember what you meant, and then I did.
You remember the
Yeah. I was thinking too. It's the what is it? The spiral.
It's the I thought it was the symbol
but
for
I mean,
the
it's
universe.
also kind of reflected in nature and the what's that? The golden ratio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that they demonize it, which makes you not want to see it, right?
It also makes you not want to look into it as well. I mean, it goes back to when you were on the Joe Rogan podcast and you're trying to bring something up, and as soon as Jamie pulls it up, he's like, "Oh, this guy's fucking anti-Semitic."
Oh yeah. What a different time that was, huh? Now we'd be reading it. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's get into it."
Yeah.
What a different time now. I was like, "Oh my god, I just got called anti-Semitic on the biggest show in the world." Oh no!
You should get a Boy Scout patch made for that.
Oh no!
Should I clip it and make it a throwback? So
No,
you were
do
ahead
not.
of time. You were ahead of the game.
No, I'll get yelled at by other people. Oh, no, he's taking credit for this. So I'm like, okay, dude, we're good. You're a good guy. Yeah, dude, I think you're totally right about that. And again, what was it? What was from the last show? I can't. You guys have no reference to it, but it was supercharged sigils.
Yeah.
they're supercharging these sigils. And based on what we're talking about, they're supercharging them to the negative.
Oh yeah, I think it's all about intention. I think you had a guest on here before. I forget who it was. It might have been the dude that was a Rosicrucian, and you might have had him on your other show. But he was talking about the difference between magic and theurgy, and I think he
magic
was saying,
and what?
Theurgy, I believe.
Okay.
Basically, I think he was saying that theurgy is basically magic, but with good intention. And when you practice magic, it's dark arts because you're using it for service to self. And that kind of goes back to free will versus God's will. Because if you're using magic for service to self, that kind of just, I believe that's what the entity of Satan is. The entity of Satan, I believe, is the use of free will for service to self as opposed to the use of free will for God's will. You know what I mean? So I believe that if they're using any kind of magic for something that is free will, that is not in alignment with God's will, I believe that's malevolent, and I believe it's dark arts.
I think you might be talking about the guitarist from Blondie. I think he was the one who was talking about that again.
Our friend. Yeah.
Our friend. And he was basically like, black magic is when you use magic on someone and you get them to do something.
Oh yeah, I heard him say that too. Yeah.
I think that's what and I think you're totally right. And I think he's totally right. And you know, you get into this thing I've been talking about abundance versus scarcity. It's like I tell people, if you're having money problems, give money away. Money will come back to you. People think it's crazy. It's so funny. I'm going to the American Comedy Company this week. And why don't you bring up my dates, by the way? Great time. I'm doing the American Comedy Company, and I have the greatest example of abundance is when I was there. I just met these two brothers who were, you know, they had gotten a flat on their car, and I basically towed them, got them a new flat, and gave them money. That like a week later, I'm playing the comedy club. I'm playing this weekend, the American Comedy Company, or last weekend. This will be out, but last weekend, and the owner who didn't like me a long time ago likes me now. Was like, hey, I wanted to give you something for your kids, and he hands me like $1,600.
Wow.
Like that to me is the law of abundance. It's not that obvious all the time, but that's what we're talking about.
Are you just giving away stuff at American Comedy Club? Last time we went, I don't know if you remember, you had just got the check. We were walking back to the car, and some lady asked you for some money, and you gave her $100. And it was you could have gave her a 20.
Should have given her 16.
Gave her $100, and I looked at him because even I was like, "Yo, you could have gave her a 20." And Sam said, "Abundance." Sam said, "Abundance."
It will come back.
And I don't know what happened to him after that, but I'm sure it made him feel
Give it away, dude.
Come back tenfold.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, people think I'm crazy. Give it away, dude. It's a war on God. Everything's a war on God. Everything's a demoralization campaign and a war on God. And if you realize that, you'll understand the game that's being played against you right now. Everything's demoralization. Johnny, you have a skeptic look on your face.
I have not a thought in the world about that.
Are you literally just zoning out?
I got resting skeptic face.
Okay, that's fine.
Resting skeptic face.
It happens, dude. I'm with you. Your girlfriend's like, what are you thinking? You're like, nothing. And they're like, no, that's not. Literally, we're not thinking anything.
No, I'm totally. You always look to me like but that time nothing at all.
Okay, so let's get into our final thing. Simulation theory is all these ancient myths explained in one modern term. Explain it to me.
Yeah, so basically what we talked about earlier was we talked about how the source code is emanated into the program, basically.
I love that shit.
We can basically just look at that like how we looked at the ether earlier. If all of our experience are collectively pulled from the ether until we observe it, it's basically the same thing as a computer program because you have all of your programmings, your source code, your pool of data that it pulls from, but you're only seeing one part of the data at a time according to the algorithms and the functions that your computer is sending to you when you're, typing in your keys or selecting parts of the program or whatever.
Yeah, I just think people need to understand this is all energy work, dude. It's all energy work, and you can manipulate it. And when you manipulate energy and you start acting in the positive, okay, you'll have higher vibrational people come into your life. So in recovery, they talk about something called lower companions. And I hate that term. I used to be in Motel 6s with some fucking shady people doing shady ass drugs. And the notion that those people are lower companions when I'm right there with them.
It's like a Garth Brooks song.
I got friends and
truly is.
lower companions. Right? Is absolutely ridiculous to me. And I think it's a dangerous precedent when you start demonizing certain people as they're lower than you.
What if the intention there is that they're on a lower vibration at that moment? They're
Right, but you're right there with them. That
yeah,
means
well, that's what I'm saying. You're all down there.
But we
right?
were at one point with them.
yes, that's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
they're not lower than you.
They were. You were lower than you at the time.
But at that time you were with them. So I don't know how you're lower.
Well, I think they mean to where when you're in recovery, they, relative to where
right,
you
you
are
get
then.
out of that.
Yeah, that was a lower
But
frequency.
I think that demonizes people.
I get
as
what you're saying, though,
almost
yeah.
like this kind of thing that they're stuck in that area, and they are demonized. I think that's demonization of people suffering from the same affliction that you have.
It's kind of NPC language, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of demonizes people, and I think it's a bad way of looking at life. And I there, but for the grace of God, go I. Homeless people, like most of your homeless people, are completely traumatized. They've been put through the foster care system and just had the spirit killed in them.
Dude, there's this lady down the street from me that is the most remarkably articulate schizo. I mean, she speaks in these wonderful, complete sentences, and all that she rambles about is what happened to her at foster homes. And it's just like, every time I walk past her, I'm just like, you poor
It's gotta
thing.
be hard.
They just wrecked her mind. And
What's the
foster
law of
homes.
vibration? And maybe this will make you feel better about the lower companion idea. Is that if let's say you have one lower vibrational person around a big group of higher vibrational people, the law of vibration states that it's more likely that the lower vibrational person is going to be lifted up by the group that's vibrating higher. So I think the point that they're trying to make in AA was that if you're trying to be on a higher level and you're around a group of people that are on a lower vibrating level, that might make
Bring
you more
you down.
prone to getting back to that lower vibrational level. So
It's kind of what happens when someone relapses. Some people get nervous and they want to get away from that. And I never got mad at people for that because I understand how
What do you mean
easy it is to slip.
Explain that. Like, let's say I have a friend.
Let's say we're all here, we're sober, and then Johnny comes in tweaking his balls off.
I don't want to be his. Some people don't want to be his friend
They
anymore.
just like, I can't be with you right
oh,
now.
that's kind of. I mean, that's not.
That
that's what
happens
you
in
mean.
golf too. When a guy gets the yips, golfers won't watch him, won't be around him. Like they think if just seeing somebody with a yip, like a hitch in their swing, like can get sometimes brain and infect their brain.
Well, energy is contagious, and it gets into my theory about sickness. It's like if you are tired, hungry, have high anxiety, and someone comes in sick, they could trigger it in you, and now you're sick.
our guest from last week or from Sunday was telling us that some people have she can tell by their brain scans which people are going to be more prone to physical sicknesses because of their thought patterns. And I thought that was really interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan had somebody come on. She wrote a book saying that anxiety, depression is from just constantly thinking about it. Again, it's like, what is your mind state? What is your vibrational mind state? I'm a weird person because I love chaos. Like, I love chaos. Like, I can talk to chaotic people all the time because I'm from that. I grew up in that.
I like it too.
Right? I'm like, oh, you're going through it. Let me hear about it. Let me try to fix you. I do. I just live it because I feel like
It's the reason I'm here, because me and XG probably like it too, because we like hanging around out with you, and you're the craziest person either of us knows.
Yeah, and he always said, I mean, at least with me, he's like,
I'm the craziest one. This guy's going to EDM concerts on Molly constantly.
Now that you have kids, you used to call me I was your stable friend. When you first met me, you're like, yeah, you're pretty
So
stable,
funny.
XG.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever got the same one where you're like,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. When
No, I think
first
you're
moved out
stable,
here-
XG. I think you like chaos though too.
That's fun. I'm young.
I mean, you're also young,
Yeah.
and when you're young, you live in the wild. You enjoy the wild shit, and then you get kind of older, and then
then
you're
you move
like,
to the
I
valley?
don't need that shit. I
you move
just
to the
want to go
valley?
to bed.
And then you moved to
Hey,
the
he's
valley.
driving
like
a
you
Raptor,
guys?
going to raves.
Yeah.
Living the fucking life. Man. I see you, bro.
Doing Molly, being a retard.
He's never seen me do Molly, but I do all of it.
You don't do Molly there?
No, I mean, I've done it before, but it's not
Okay,
like.
so
I've
stop
done it
acting
before,
like.
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've done it like a couple times last
Like you
week.
said, I'm getting older. I mean, as far as much as I go, it's not like it's just. It's a toll on your brain. Let's be for real. It really
and
is.
it's just like you know, it's like I just have a lot of young friends, and they all just want to live that life of just, you know, I have this joke about right now where about how I quit playing video games in the 90s because I found a funner game called Coke and Pussy. Right? And I lived that life. My college years extended into my 40s the way I lived my life. And I look back on it, it's all useless, wasted time. Yep. But when you're young and all you're watching are rappers with fucking thong girls booty shaking and everything on Bravo or whatever, and that looks like it's supposed to be the life, and it's really not. And it gets back to, are you using your free will to align with God? Are you holding off?
See, but that's what I grew up with. Hip hop shit, rappers.
Right, that's done on purpose.
And now I'm glad that at least these kids have the opportunity to hear Rogan.
Yes.
To hear people that actually want, like, I mean, not Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate's better than me listening to Lil Wayne.
You think it helps us? Like, Sam, could you have, if you could have gone back in time and talked to yourself, sat yourself down for like an hour and just talk, do you think you could have made any difference? Or you would have been like, nah, dude, I got this.
No, I would. I'd be like, I'm from you from the future.
No, but do you think young you would have listened, or you would have just been like, dude, I'm living this. I'm having a great time.
Can I tell you something?
Man.
When I was very young, I got picked up at the Comedy Store, and I was just a wild guy. And I didn't know how to play the game of life because I had my father in me, and I wanted to right all the wrongs.
Yeah.
I wanted to right the wrongs of comedy.
It's in the rules of the Ronin.
So I wanted to right the wrongs. I thought comedy was pure, and we must protect the art at all costs. And I didn't realize comedy is a whore, okay? And you shouldn't fall in love with a whore, okay? And that's a guy whore, girl whore, either one. So I remember one time Jimmy Schubert pulled me aside, and he really changed my life. We were driving to a gig, and he's like, I'm going to tell you something, dude. You're really funny, but you ain't done jack shit. You're going around and acting like you've done something. It's not your job to tell people how to act. Fucking work on your act and focus on that. And it changed how I operated.
Where's he? Florida now?
Yeah, he's
I
the
liked
best.
Him. I liked him.
Jimmy
a lot.
Schubert changed my life with that. So when you go, Sam, would you have listened to me? I did it before. If me showed up with fucking fat and all to Skinny Sam, was like, I'm you, fucking 30 years from now, did all the craziness,
like this.
blow women, all that weird shit. I did it all, and it's useless.
What future Sam would have to do would bring a picture of Tom Segura's sold out show, and then him, and then be like, "Do you want to be here?
Yeah, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Tom
The
Segura.
arena, you on the gay bar in Tampa.
Yeah, I'm like Tom Segura is me if I knew how to play the game.
Yep.
But he's also super smart. I mean, like,
Genius.
there's nobody smarter than Tom Segura. I've said that for 15 years now. Nobody knows how to work smarter than Tom Segura. Christina Pazinski as well. They're both fucking savages. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, are you going to work smart? Are you going to work hard? Or are you going to work dumb? Those are 3 options. Work smart. It's not about fucking going constantly and driving yourself crazy. It's like work calculated.
Yep.
That's how you do it. And everything in life is, are you connecting with other people? If you just follow this simple rule right here, this is, we'll follow 2 rules. Are you using your free will to get closer to God? And the second one, and this is super important. Obviously, the first one's important, but this one's in terms of business, everything. Are you helping other people achieve their goals? If you're an employee, you hate your employer, why are you fucking there? I need a job. Okay, you can find another job. But if you're going to work for this guy, are you going to help him achieve his goals? That's it. Am I going to help you achieve are you helping other people achieve their goals? When I pull people aside, last night I gave a friend of mine the spiel I gave to Theo Vaughn. I think some of the data's old, but it fucking is on point. I've told that story to so many people, and they've taken it and they become millionaires. It's like, are you helping other people? That's it. Give it away. Johnny said this before. I'm a guy that's helped more of his competitors than anyone ever. Like the amount of people I brought into the space probably have siphoned off listeners. That's okay. That's okay.
Hey, thank you, by the way, because I think our first big push on Instagram was, I think we did a Chris Bledsoe video and you reposted it and then he reposted it. And,
Yeah.
And it's a snowball effect, man. So I really appreciate it.
Give it away, dude. You guys have so many listeners. There's someone less listeners. Have them on your podcast.
Yeah.
And that's how it fucking goes. And that's how you give it away. It's why I believe Rogan is where he is and why Carlos Mencia is where he is.
Absolutely.
Give it a fucking away, dude. Give it all away. Like, you know, it's like if you make it to the top, you got to pull everybody up. You got to keep pulling people up. That's how you keep it. If you try to keep it for yourself, that's how you lose it. I've seen it happen over and over again. It's like, are you helping people achieve their goals? Guys, great episode, dude. Great episode. You guys crushed it. Yes. Thanks for coming on. One more time. Tell them where they can find you.
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Outside Minds Podcast. I'm Steelo Free, STEELO Free.
.420.
Yeah, you guys are a powerful duo. I like it. Batman and Robin.
Is it dot like a period or DOT?
DLT. Yeah,
DLT.
it's a reverse of my real name.
Okay. All right. Respect. So your name is Todd?
Correct.
Respect.
go.
Did I give that away? Yes.
Damn you.
I'm out there.
You
It's
broke
fine.
the code, dude.
All right. Great episode. Let's break it down. All right. Let's talk about the Outside the Mind podcast, boys. Steelo Free and .420. What'd you guys think?
Old school.
That was an old school classic.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when we were rocking and rolling, getting deep into it.
We
dude.
hit all
Occult,
the
the
points.
Esoteric. I'm so in on all that stuff. Johnny, what'd you think?
Let's throw it back more often.
Let's go back. Let's go back in time. That was a good one. And I'm into it. A lot of great knowledge dropped on that show.
Yes.
A lot of great knowledge. A lot of things. If you listen to the whole thing, you'll be able to walk away with things that are going to help you change your life. That's my opinion. And I'm all in. I loved it, dude. I thought they were great. And it's great to see my sons doing well. Okay.
Is that how you see someone?
I father a lot of podcasts. I'm fathering a lot of podcasts. I'm getting all the other podcasts pregnant, and they're having lots of little fucking podcast sons.
Like in a different type of way, it'd be cool if you have like an affiliate for the podcast that you kind of help start.
Yeah,
You
that'd
can
be
just-
great. Yeah, throw my shit up there since I created you. No, I'm happy for them. And the more the merrier, I say. Start your own podcast, get it going. There's room for everybody. There's too many podcasts, and there's not enough podcasts. Find your space, do it. I loved it. I love this stuff. This is a very advanced episode.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for everybody because what he's saying is the symbols aren't bad. It's the energy put into them, which I think is totally true. And I think that is, again, these demonic pieces of shit want to get us as far away from God as possible by taking these spiritually old symbols and demonizing them.
Is there any way to getting them back? Like, is that?
Yeah, you should get a swastika on your chest.
That's why, hey, Kanye's working on it.
Just
brother.
work on
That's
it.
what I'm wondering. Is there
Just
any way to
trying, man.
get it
Is he
back?
helping or hurting though? That's the question.
Yeah, honestly, when he's going Heil Hitler, I mean, like that ain't bringing back the swastika, you know.
But I will tell you, he
Please
has
tell me.
opened the door to the discussion of the Holocaust and stuff like that. I just saw this woman who does Redacted, and she was going into like, you all think the Nazis are bad? Check out the Japanese. They were 10 times worse. And why does anyone talk about that? And she's going, and she goes, is this a part of just a Holocaust industry?
Well,
And it
there
was
are
like-
no J's in China, or they would be talking about. I mean, you go to China, they hate the Japanese there, dude. They still hate the Japanese.
No,
for that
I'm
shit,
with you
man.
on that.
Then I watched a documentary that Candace kind of promoted, where you can watch after World War II. The Jews went pretty hard on the Germans after.
Oh, 100%.
Like the Germans got their ass kicked after they lost the war.
But
No
you
one
know,
talks
Jake
about
Shields
that.
was on Owen Benjamin. He goes, nobody was talking about the Holocaust to the 70s. Then it became this giant thing.
Oh, really?
And then you have Steven Spielberg going, you know, who's one of the biggest scumbags on planet Earth. Yeah, we should teach it in school. Why? Why that one? Why that one?
Should teach a lot of things.
Why not the democide of the Japanese, of the Chinese? Why not talk about what China just did during COVID, or Mao, or Stalin? Why? Why are we not talking about that? Why are we only focusing on this one? Because we all know why.
Dude, I can't imagine trying to teach school right now with the kids being kind of anti-Semitic, and you're trying to teach them the Holocaust. And like, that's not what I read.
Yeah, good for that. Good.
That's not what I read, or that's not what I.
You know, my daughter can't get off the pad, and you guys can call me a bad parent, and that's
Bad
fine.
parent. How dare you?
But man, she knows a lot of shit, dude. You know, maybe her attention span's short, but her vocabulary is huge. She knows a lot of stuff. She shocks us all the time on what she knows.
My damn nephew is spoiling Squid Game for me. He's just seen all of what happened on TikTok, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it really sucks. Where they all died in that scene." Huh? And I'm like, "You little son."
Now you just ruined it for all
Well,
of us.
it's just I don't know what he meant by it, but I didn't say exactly what
Damn,
he
Johnny, you just ruined it. You
said.
know
No,
what
I didn't
won't-
say exactly what he
Johnny
said.
ruined it. You know what won't ruin you? SamTripoli.com. You're
don't
like,
know.
Sam, when is this episode's coming? Well, I can't find it. SamTripoli.com. Go to SamTripoli.com.
I consider SamTripoli.com the ultimate spoiler alert for the future of humanity.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you know. You want to know what's going on? Go to SamTripoli.com. Every episode I do is put on SamTripoli.com. The premium content, 3 shows a week of the deepest dives. And guess what, guys? You don't even see on there. Look at that. Look at that. Where is it? Dangerous isn't there, is it? You don't see it because it's dangerous.
You got to pay for it.
Well, it's part of the premium content, but we don't even list it. We don't even want to give them anything that they can look
Wait,
at.
it's too dangerous even for
The
a
list.
decentralized website like that?
No, it's on there, but it's not listed. So we can't have people go, oh, you're talking about this? Nope.
Oh, I see.
You got to join premium content just to even find out if there's a dangerous there.
There might not even be one. Who knows?
There is. I just put up 2 new ones. And then Johnny, tell us, Johnny, we love the Cash Daddies. People are making money. It's the best, dude. It's like join. You get an awesome show. You get premium content.
Look at that, 1,400 posts we've had on there.
I mean,
Howie's
dude.
going to town, bro.
And let's hope some people now, because they're not getting it for free,
We'll actually sign up for it. Yeah.
will sign up for it and help the guy who's hustling. 3 of us working our ass
Looks
off.
like somebody's really working their ass off right there.
Eating
Johnny
while
just like
podcasting.
Johnny forced that, by the way. No one say Bitcoin is eating. Johnny just forces that so he can put a picture of me shoving food in my fucking
I
mouth.
don't know what you're talking
You're just
about.
ridiculous, dude.
Where'd you
You're
get that picture from? That's my question. Was
No,
he
he
podcasting?
Picture, what is it? It's him eating on the
Yeah.
podcast. It's right
I mean,
in the
I
middle
get
of the
up, I
podcast.
go jujitsu, I gotta fucking eat.
You want to know the truth? I click around about 5 times to look for a good thumbnail image.
Yeah.
And 3 times I clicked around, it was you stuffing your face. And I was like, that's
Okay,
meant
Johnny.
to be.
So go if you want to see pictures of me eating like a fat ass. Go to samtripoli.com or go to the Patreon, patreon.com/cashdaddies. And then we got everything else is on
No, hey,
samtripoli.com.
you keep forgetting to tell him one of the best shows in the world. Tuesday mornings, Tuesday afternoons.
Tuesday at 4 p.m. is doom scrolling. We didn't do it this week because we had a scheduling conflict and life got really hard. And then the Chaos Twins are coming, and that I'm excited for that. And yeah, you know, it's a great website. All the affiliates are there. Prometheus, if you want a decentralized website, guys.
Oh,
so,
you did mention Prometheus a lot in this episode. Was it the last one?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're a content creator and you're making some money, you should get a premium content, decentralized website, because they're gonna come for you, and you just now if you put it on your own page, they can't do anything. Now, fun fact. Somebody hacked my website. They tried to get hacked in and put a backdoor in, and they got rid of it. I mean, dude, I got
You got backdoored.
No, Johnny, I've never been backdoored ever. Okay, Johnny, stop bringing your gay butt stuff into this.
So I'm gonna get clipped. I was hoping
Everything
you'd
with
say
you is homoerotica, and I can't take it
He
anymore.
almost, for a second, too, he was like,
They went in hard.
I almost got it.
So yeah, dude, and that's about it, guys. I thought it was a great episode. I love Izzy. It's fun to see Izzy blown up.
Is he?
dude. The thing that Izzy is blowing up. But dude, deep diving into that Sabrina Carpenter shit with the Sabrina and then the dolls and then all that shit.
It's creepy, dude. It's creepy.
They're so gross, those people. Those fucking fame fuckers are so gross.
And
dude.
they're not original either. It's all just the same plots over and over again, you know?
Yeah. Well, this has been a great episode. We love it, and we want to do more of this stuff. And guys, go to at Sam Tripoli on Twitter. Tell me the subjects you like to hear about. We need to start, you know, as we hurl towards the big 1000th episode.
Crazy.
We want to do more episodes for you. And then again, the YouTube channel is starting to cook with gas too. So very excited about that.
We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Let's do it.
Nice,
Be a part of it. Be a part of it. Yeah. And then if you go back, yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it, but good things are happening. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, subscribe, and just thank you for watching the show.
Johnny?
Check me out on Twitter at Johnny Woodard, please. I will not follow you back probably, but please.
Johnny will follow you back as long as you're not a bot. He'll
Gotta
figure
be
it
a
out.
5-star review on Broken Sin. We follow those back from the Broken
Yeah,
Sin.
and put in your Twitter handle so we can follow you. And guys, it's just like great show.